Eve was a 24-year-old woman who suffered a mild form of retardation called expressive aphasia. This condition made her unable to talk or effectively communicate with other people. One day, her mother came to the conclusion that if Eve ever got pregnant, she may be unable to keep care of the baby and the responsibility of raising the child would fall on the mother.
Eve, I know you have a disorder and you cannot express yourself, but honestly, honey, I can't handle it if you got pregnant. I couldn't handle it. Now, darling, I know you hang out with a lot of guys, but I couldn't take care of your child if you happened to get pregnant. I couldn't do it. Now, hon, I've heard of this process called sterilization, and it sounds like an easy plan, you know? It'll prevent you from having kids.
Eve's mother was so full of joy that she marched right down to the local courthouse. There she intended to get the right to permanently sterilize her daughter, so that she could not be forced to keep care of the child that Eve may give birth to.
Can your daughter give consent to this operation?
No, Your Honor, she has a disease called expressive aphasia. It means she can't talk or express her feelings.
You just can't force your daughter to get sterilized because you don't want to take care of her baby. This is against Section 7 of the Charter, because it's Eve's right to life, liberty, and security of person is being broken. This is also a cruel and unnatural treatment which breaks Section 12 of the Charter. I'm going to reject this case because it is absolutely ridiculous.
Your Honor, this is pathetic. How am I supposed to take care of your daughter?
Eve felt that the rejection of the case was a miscarriage of justice. She dealt with this inconvenience by appealing her case to the Supreme Court of Prince Edward Island, where it was accepted.
Court is now in session. Your Honor, since Eve cannot give consent to have the sterilization done, it is unjust.
Preview.
This breaks many of her charter rights, which cannot be excused.
What is unjust is that Eve's mother at her old age can be forced to take care of a baby even though she doesn't want to. I think it is reasonable to assume that the mother has Eve's best interests in mind.
Preview.
Therefore, we should allow Eve to get sterilized so that her mother doesn't have to deal with an unnecessary burden.
Eve's right to life, liberty, and security of person is more important than the possible burden that the mother may face if Eve gets pregnant. You also must consider the kind of precedent that would be created if we allowed the sterilization to occur. This could allow the rights of disabled people to be violated and abused. After considering the facts of the case, I am inclined to disallow the sterilization of Eve.
After the disappointing outcome of the trial, Eve's mother decided to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. There, she intended to have her last attempt at gaining the legal right to sterilize her daughter.
It is impossible to determine whether Eve has consent with the conduction of an operation that would irreversibly sterilize her. If we were to allow the sterilization of Eve, she would lose her ability to produce offspring. This is considered to be one of the most valued aspects of life. Thus, her right to life, liberty, and security of person, as mentioned in Section 7 of the Charter, would be infringed. Eve would also be subjected to a cruel and unusual treatment which breaks Section 12 of the Charter. After closely analyzing the arguments made by the defense and the Crown, I can conclude that the rights of Eve outweigh the possible burdens that her mother might face if indeed she becomes pregnant. Therefore, I am disallowing her sterilization. The Supreme Court ruled that Eve was to not be sterilized due to the infringements of Section 7 and Section 12 of the Charter.